I want to introduce you to the new gaming device, the K36. This is handheld console from the KinHank company. In this video, we will unbox the device, examine the button ergonomics, check out the software and interface, and also test a few of my favorite games. But first, let's take a look at the specifications. The K36 console is powered by a quad-core Cortex-A35 processor. The graphics performance is handled by the Mali G31MP2 processor, which provides significant energy savings. The console comes with 1 GB of RAM and a 3.5-inch IPS display with a resolution of 640 by 480 pixels. The battery has a capacity of 3500 mAh, allowing you to play for up to 4 hours. The device runs on a Linux-based operating system with the EmuElec shell. By the way, the K36 console can be purchased on Aliexpress for approximately 40 euros with free and fast shipping. I believe this is an excellent and low price for a console. You can find the link to the K36 console on Aliexpress in the description box. Let's move on to the unboxing. The K36 arrived in this packaging. I ordered the version in a black transparent plastic case, but the store also offers two other colors: matte translucent purple and warm gray. Inside the box, we find the console itself, protected by a covering material. Under the transparent plastic mold, there is a USB Type-A to USB Type-C charging cable, a micro SD card reader, and a brief user manual. In my opinion, this is a pretty good package for a budget gaming console. I was particularly pleased with the inclusion of the card reader, as not everyone has the ability to connect an SD card to their computer. Now, let's take a look at the device itself. This is the transparent black model. I really like it and find it aesthetically pleasing. Let's peel out the protective film from the screen together. The plastic texture is slightly rough and incredibly pleasant to the touch. With this type of surface, the console is quite comfortable to hold. On the front, we see matte black buttons. They are pleasant to touch and press quite softly. The D-pad is also matte and slightly rough. It's moderately firm and also presses softly. In my opinion, this is the best D-pad I've tested. Thanks to the materials used to the case and buttons, the console feels like a premium product. We also see the Start, Select and Function buttons. They slightly protrude from the body, but are rounded at the edges and do not make any rattling sounds. At the bottom are the analog sticks. They are quite responsive, springy, and return to their original position clearly. They also have a slightly rubberized texture. These are pretty high-quality sticks. I'd like to point out the sound of the button presses. Just listen. All the sounds have a soft and pleasant click. And before we continue, please like and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment. This helps me promote the channel. Also, you can click the bell icon so you don't miss any new videos. By the way, you can become my sponsor on YouTube or Patreon. This is a unique opportunity to become part of our private community and gain access to exclusive content. I regularly share mockups, interesting fonts, wallpapers, and other useful design materials with my sponsors. Thank you for your attention. Let's continue. Special thanks to the manufacturers and product designers for this. The tactile and auditory experience impressed me. But that's not all. On the back we see the standard 4 buttons, triggers commonly used in games on PlayStation 1, PSP, Nintendo 64 and so on. These buttons also have a pleasant click when pressed. Moreover, look at this shape. The smooth curve on the back allows you to comfortably hold the console without getting tired. The ergonomic design of the console is a big plus, and I really like it. On the top of the console, we see two mini USB Type-C ports. The first port is used for charging, and the second is for connecting peripherals. By the way, there is a visual indicator on the screen during charging. This is very convenient. Also, on the top of the console is a headphone jack. I'd like to point out out the successful placement of these ports. During gameplay, you can charge the console and connect headphones simultaneously. The cables won't interfere with holding the console, which is very convenient and doesn't distract from the game. It feels like the console's design was carefully thought out and the developers made sure that nothing will distract from a comfortable game. On the right side, there is a power and reset button, as well as the only slot for an SD card. By default, the console comes with a 64GB memory card. The website mentions that the card has over 16,000 games loaded onto it. On the left side of the console is the volume control. All the side buttons are flush with the body and practically do not protrude. They are also matte and have a pleasant click when pressed. Overall, I really like this console. It looks great and feels incredibly pleasant. They certainly didn't skimp on the materials. Now let's turn on the console and take a look at its interface. The console boots up quickly and a soft blue light indicator on the front panel lights up. It's not too bright, so you don't really notice it while playing. The console comes with the EmuElec firmware. It looks quite standard, and if you've used RTX firmware before, you'll quickly get the hang of EmuElec. On the main screen, we're immediately greeted by a fairly large list of consoles. We can choose one and press the A button to access the list of games. Almost all games are accompanied by a preview image, which helps you better understand what the game is about. To launch a game, press the A button. By the way, I'd like to mention that this console has a pretty good speaker, which produces pleasant sound without any extra noise or distortion, ensuring full immersion in the gaming experience. If you want to save your game, press the Select and R1 buttons simultaneously. And to quickly load the last save, press Select and L1 at the same time. To bring up the RetroArch emulator settings menu, press Select and X simultaneously. Here, you can access emulator settings and control settings. To exit the game, press Select and Start simultaneously. If you want to add a game to the Favorites section, hold down the A button for a few seconds until a menu appears. In this menu, you can view the game's options, edit game metadata, add it to favorites, or delete it if you don't like it. On the main screen, there is a control interface guide at the bottom. The B button is responsible for quick navigation, allowing you to quickly jump to sections like PlayStation or PSP. If you press the Y button, you'll enter the game search panel. This is a very handy feature when you have more than 16,000 games on the SD card. For example, if you type in Batman, the search results will show a full list of games related to the superhero Batman. Returning to the main screen, the X button is for random selection. I don't use this feature often. Let's press the Start button and go to the main settings menu. It's quite extensive, so I'll show you a few main settings and you can explore the rest on your own. First, go to the second menu item, Game Settings. To access it, press the A button. Here, I recommend enabling the autosave load option. This allows you to quickly load games from the last save point. To return to the main menu, press the B button. The next section is UI settings. Here, you can choose from several themes for the interface. You can select the one you like best. There are also settings for transition effects on the main screen, displaying the time, battery status, and more. Moving on to the next menu item, Sound Settings. Here, I disable the front-end music because I find it distracting, but you can leave this setting enabled if you like background music. The next setting selection is Game Collection Settings. In the System Displayed section, you can choose what types of consoles will be available on the main screen. Here, you can also enable the Options section display, called Setup. To select, press the A button and check the box next to it. To go back, press the B button. The next item in this section is Automatic Game Collections. Here, you can choose to display various collections on the main screen, such as all games, last played, favorites, arcade, and many others. These collections help make the interface more efficient and reduce the time spent searching for a specific game. You can also sort the display of systems alphabetically by manufacturer or by hardware type. You can explore the rest of the settings in this section on your own. Let's move on to the next section, System Settings. In the first item, you can view technical information about the K36 console, such as firmware version, free space on the SD card, battery level, processor temperature, and so on. Next, you can choose the system language, of which many are installed, from Arabic to Chinese. There is also a arcade mode setting and screen brightness adjustment. You can explore the rest of the settings on your own. The last item in the main settings menu is Quit. Here, you can choose one of three options: Restart Emulation Station, Restart System, and Shut Down System. In my opinion, the menu is very similar to the ROS firmware, so I had no difficulty finding the functions I needed. I think that with my explanations, you'll be able to easily navigate it as well. The user experience with the K36 is intuitively understandable. Now that we've briefly familiarized ourselves with the interface, let's move on to the games. First, let's see how two games from the classic Super Nintendo console run. For example, Disney's Aladdin. An excellent game, it brings positive emotions, but let's take a look at one of my favorite games, Battletoads and Double Dragon. Another classic game to demonstrate the console's performance is Mega Man X. Now we can look at games from the Game Boy Advance console. Splinter Cell for Game Boy Advance works perfectly. You can play comfortably, even with enhanced graphics. Let's try launching a more demanding game and see the performance.
3, 2, 1, Pandora's box!
Motor Tune Grand Prix game for the first generation PlayStation ran without problems. It's quite comfortable to play. Another great PlayStation game is Earthworm Jim 2. I really love this game for its atmosphere and many humorous moments.
Tasty!
Now let's launch a more demanding game, Assassin's Creed Bloodlines for PSP. The frame rate constantly fluctuates between 30 and 20, but there are also drops to 10 frames per second. These aren't the best indicators, but it's also a very demanding game. It's not very comfortable to play, so for PSP game lovers, I recommend playing less demanding games, such as Patapon, Loco Roco, Little Big Planet, and so on.
To jump so high you defy the laws of gravity is a must-have accessory in Little Big Planet, and your action button will furnish you with this.
In conclusion, I'd like to say that I really like this console. The device is well assembled, very pleasant to the touch, and the ergonomic shape of the back panel makes it comfortable to hold the device in your hands without getting tired during gameplay. Additionally, the K36 is compact and can be comfortably carried even in a pocket. It's very convenient for playing classic games from Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, and other consoles. Considering the price of this console on Aliexpress, purchasing the K36 with the free shipping is a very good deal. I remind you that you can buy the KinHank K36 through the link in the description box. I hope you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. I wish you pleasant nostalgia and successful completion of your favorite games.